Shalom. Before I start, I want to give all honors and glories and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Waha, Wachachodash, Yahweh, which is the one and true name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, but his one and true name is Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, because those are the men who I've learned this truth from through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect, and shalom to you, sincere brothers scattered abroad, pushing forth this word in truth and sincerity. I am the brother Mashiach Arazakah from the servants of Yahweh Yahweh Shai Camp, Las Vegas, Nevada branch. And pretty much this lesson is going to be titled as Salvation is only for the Israelites. Salvation is only for the Israelites. Not every single person of the world is granted salvation. And we're going to prove this in the scriptures, because you got a lot of people in the religious world, they believe that salvation is for everybody, but that's not in the scriptures. So we're going to go into the scriptures and bring it out, proving that salvation is only for the Israelites. And the first precept I'm going to start out in is Isaiah 47 and verse 17. It's 45, so like it. It's Isaiah 45 and verse 17. This is Isaiah 45 and verse 17. It says, "But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation." All right, we have an everlasting salvation. And if you go into Genesis, I think it's the 17th chapter, right? We have an everlasting covenant. As a matter of fact, I'll get that out right now, but let me get this. This is Isaiah 45:17. "But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end." So we have an everlasting salvation. All right, salvation is only given to the Israelites. But we're going to go to Genesis 17 and we're going to read down. All right. Now, you got people that say, well, what about Ishmael? All right, the Lord blessed Ishmael, but the Lord didn't establish a covenant with Ishmael. Now, the Lord blessed Ishmael because he was the son of Father Abraham, but he didn't make no covenant with him. That's the thing. Isaiah 17 and 19. "And the Most High said unto Sarah thy wife, shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him." And who is the seed after Jacob? Who's the seed after Isaac? Salakia. The seed after Isaac. Who was the seed after Isaac? It was Jacob, and it was his 12 sons, right? The Israelites, right? Because the Most High changed Jacob's name to Israel, right? When he wrestled with that angel. So we have an everlasting covenant, and we have an everlasting salvation. So when you read these 2 points, that lets you know who salvation is only for. Salvation is not for everybody. So again, let's go back to Isaiah 45 and 17. See, we have an everlasting covenant and we have an everlasting salvation. Isaiah 45:17. "But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation." So you see, we have an everlasting salvation. All right. Salvation is only given to the Israelites. All right. It says, "Ye shall not be ashamed nor confound, world without end." So salvation is only given to the Israelites. These 17 heathen nations, starting from Esau, who's the so-called white man, on down, they don't have salvation. If you're not a so-called Negro, Hispanic, or Native American Indian, you don't descend from the seed line of a so-called Negro, Hispanic, or Native American Indian, you do not have salvation. All right, because don't get me wrong, we got Israelites out there. We got the speckled bird Israelites. All right, they may look like a heathen on the outside, but their seed line, their bloodline goes back to a so-called Negro, Hispanic, or Native American Indian through the seed line of their father. Their father is a so-called Negro, Hispanic, or Native American Indian. So you got speckled birds out there. You got Israelites out there that don't look like an average Jake. They look like a heathen, but they're an Israelite because of their father, which is a so-called Negro, Hispanic, Native American Indian. So I'm not talking about y'all. I'm talking about these heathens, natural heathens, right? That's not of Israelite descent. Isaiah 45:17. But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confound the world without end. So we have an everlasting salvation. Salvation is not given to every single person. Amos 3:1. This is Amos 3:1. Amos 3:1. Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel. See? So that's who the Lord is dealing with. He's not dealing with everybody. It says, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, right? Verse 2, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. So that's who the Lord is dealing with. That's who the Lord always known. It was the Israelites. All right. The Lord has always only dealt with Israel. It says, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. Right. And we're going through a temporal punishment. Why? Because we broke the old covenant. We didn't keep the laws and statutes and commandments. We swore oath to Yahweh Shai that we would keep his commandments, and we didn't keep them. Now we're suffering these curses, which goes to Deuteronomy 28. Right? We promised the Lord that we wouldn't break his covenant. We did an oath with him, and we did. We broke the covenant, the old covenant. So now we got a temporal punishment. Now we're suffering here on this sin, right? Suffering the curses because our forefathers broke the old covenant. And I got another precept. This is Exodus 4:22, right? Proving what I'm saying. This is who the Lord is dealing with. This is Exodus 4:22. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. So that's who the Lord is dealing with, the Israelites. Okay, we have that everlasting salvation. All right, we also have that everlasting covenant because we descend from Father Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We are that special people unto the Lord, right? Deuteronomy 7:6, we're a special people. We are a peculiar people, which that word peculiar, it means special. All right, so we are the ones that have that salvation. We have that salvation. Salvation is only given to the Israelites, man. Jeremiah 3:23. And Salaki, if I'm staggering, I'm going off the top of the head. All right, all my precepts, I'm just going off the top of the head. Jeremiah 3:23. It says, truly in vain is salvation hoped for. It says, truly in vain is salvation hoped for from the hills and from the multitude of mountains. So whose hope for salvation is vain, right? From the hills and from the multitude of mountains. Who is this talking about? The 17 heathen nations. Their hope for salvation is vain. They don't have salvation. All right, their hope for salvation is vain. They don't have salvation. All right, you 17 heathen nations, you guys don't have salvation. It says, truly in the Lord, our power is salvation of Israel. See, so salvation is only given to the Israelites. That's who salvation is for. That's who salvation is given to. Only given to Israel. Salvation is not for everybody. John 3:16, that's talking about the Israelites. Because that word world there, it goes into the Greek word of cosmos, which means government or constitution. That's talking about Israelites. So that's not talking about everybody. In Galatians 3:28, that's talking about Israelites as well. Because that word Greek there, when you go into Acts 6:1, that word Greek it goes into the meaning of Hellenist, all right, or Hellenistes, which is Hellenist, all right. And when you go into the meaning of Hellenist, it goes into a Greek-speaking Jew, because you had Israelites of the flesh. They were in the ways of the Greeks. They spoke Greek, dressed Greek. They were in the ways of the Greeks. They were Israelites of the flesh, but they were cast out as Gentiles, as heathens. So when you read anything that say Israel first, and it says Jew first and then Gentile, that's talking about the Gentiles is meaning the Israelite foreigners with a Hellenistic mindset, with a Gentile state of mind. So that's who that was talking about. When you come across things like that, that's not talking about Israel and heathen nations. No. It's talking about Israelites and Israelite foreigners. That's what it's talking about. And we're gonna get another precept out. Now this is let me get out that John. Saint John 4:22. This is Saint John 4 and verse 22. And actually I'll start from up here. And this is what Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, this is what he said unto that woman. Right? This is John 4:21. Yahushua said unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour cometh, when ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father. Verse 22, ye worship ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. See? So for salvation is for the Israelites. And that's who salvation is for. That's who salvation is given to, the Israelites. It's not given to everybody, all people. Whether you're black, white, purple, orange, blue, any color. You know, they got people that say some bugged out shit like say the Messiah was every color. That's not in the scriptures though. That's coming from your own interpretation. The scriptures say in Proverbs, right, 3 and 5, it says, lean not into thine own understanding. So you can't be leaning into your own understanding of things. You gotta follow what the scriptures say. That's the thing. Many people don't follow what the scriptures say. You gotta go what the Bible say. Hell with your own opinion. What the Bible say. Because your opinion is off of your own vain emotions. That's not according to scripture. So salvation is given to the Israelites. Salvation is only for the Israelites. See, so the Messiah even said it. Salvation is for the Israelites. It's not for everybody. It's not given to everybody. It's only given to the Israelites. That's who salvation is for. All right. And when you go into the meaning of salvation, and we'll get that out right now. But when you go into the meaning of salvation, it means delivered from harm. Let's get that out. I want to get this out, man. All right. See? Salvation. It says preservation or deliverance from harm, ruin, or loss. See? What you 17 heathen nations not in harm? The Israelites is in harm. We're going through pure hell right now, and hell is a condition of affliction. It's not eternal fire burning underneath the earth's core with a guy with a red skin and a pitchfork. That's not hell. Hell is a condition of affliction. All right, what you're dealing with on a daily basis. You know, the struggles and sufferings that we deal with here in this place called America, which is Babylon the Great. That's hell. Hell is a condition of affliction. That's all hell is. But let's read it again. It says salvation. It says preservation or deliverance from harm, ruin, or loss. So that's what salvation is. And who needs to be delivered from harm? The Israelites. We're the ones that need to be delivered from harm. This is Psalms 147 and verse 19. So you gotta understand, salvation is not for every single person on the earth. Salvation is only for the Israelites, and salvation is to be delivered from harm. We're the ones that need to be delivered from harm. We're the one that's going through torment. We're going through sufferings. We're going through a lot of things at work. You know, we're going through a lot here. Struggles with finances, etc. We're going through a lot here, man. Psalms 147 and 19. Why would the Lord save a bunch of people that's ruling and controlling everything and they got billions of dollars? This is their kingdom. They don't even have to work. These fucking Edomites, They don't even have to work. They can literally sit a whole, if they want to take a whole 2 months off, they can take a whole 2 fucking months off of work. We can't take 2 fucking whole months off of work. We do get vacation time with job where I'm at, but you gotta have a certain amount of vacation time to take it. And when you take your vacation time, you only get like fucking a week off, and then it's back to work. So you see, we don't get the type of breaks that Esau get. Esau can get a whole fucking month off if he wanted to. He don't have to work. He got billions of dollars. He can do whatever he want to do. So this is how we know that we're the Israelites. This is how we know that we're suffering. This is why the Lord Yahweh Shai, he's gonna come back and he's gonna put everything in his original state, Lord willing. Because we're suffering here. Psalms 147:19, he showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. See? So that's who the Lord is dealing with, the Israelites. Remember, we read in Genesis 17, right, that Isaac, right, he's established a covenant with Isaac and his seed after thee. We have an everlasting covenant and we have an everlasting salvation. So that's who salvation is for. The Lord did not make no covenant with no heathen. Ishmael, he did not make no covenant with. All right. Esau, the Lord didn't make no covenant with Esau. The Lord made a covenant with Jacob. He didn't make no covenant with Esau, and he didn't make no covenant with Ishmael. So how is salvation given to everybody if those two individuals I just named, Ishmael and Esau, the Lord didn't make no covenant with them? He made a covenant with Jacob, and he made a covenant with Isaac and Jacob, not Ishmael and Esau. Verse 20, it says, he have not dealt so with any nation. See? So the Lord ain't dealing with all nations. He's only dealing with the Israelites. Israelites only have salvation. That's who salvation is given to, the Israelites. It says, he have not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. See? So the Lord is only dealing with the Israelites. Salvation is not given to every single person of the earth. It's not. Salvation is only given to the Israelites. That's who salvation is for. All through the scriptures, it's always talking about Israel. When you go into Revelations, the 7th chapter, it goes into the elect of the nation of Israel receiving that spiritual mark, right, which is the seal, right? And only the elect is going to receive that spiritual mark, right? When you go to Ezekiel, I think it's the 9th chapter, right? It goes into that spiritual mark. I'm not talking about Revelations 13. That's a physical one. I'm talking about the spiritual mark, the salvation, right? That's what I'm talking about. Ezekiel, the 9th chapter, that goes into that spiritual mark, which is Revelations, the 7th chapter, right? The 12,000 being sealed, right? That great multitude, Revelation 7 and 9. That's the elect. That's that salvation that's coming. And that's only going to be given to the Israelites. That's not given to everybody, right? Because that great multitude, that's going into the Israelites, all right? The elect, all right? You got the 144,000 elect men, and you got the elect that's under that. So this is what is coming for when it's talking about that salvation, the elect being delivered from harm, because this place called America is going to be destroyed in thermonuclear fire. It's like it for the rambling. Let's get out. Trying to think off the top of the head. I want to get out. Let me see. I went to Salakia. I just want to make sure I got everything. But yeah, man, salvation is only given to the Israelites, man. I can't think any more other precepts off the top of my head right now. But yeah, man, salvation is only given to the Israelites. I could go to Deuteronomy, what is it? Deuteronomy 32. Here we go, right here. Because when we say that, salvation is only given to Israel, and we clear all those points up, then somebody would say, well, what about Adam? We all came from Adam. And they'll try to use Adam as a defense to say that they still have salvation because we all came from Adam. Now, you people that have that type of defense, we all did come from Adam. But that doesn't mean nothing. Nothing changed. All right? Nothing has changed at all. So we all did come from Adam, but the Lord segregated the nations because the sons of Adam were wicked. This is Deuteronomy 32:7. Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee, thy elders, and thy will to tell thee. Right. So we always got to remember the days of old, right? Because you got people that say, oh, forget about the past. We just move forward. No, we got to remember the days of old. We can't let things go. Oh, let that go. That's old. That happened. No. The scriptures say, remember the days of old. So we have to remember the days of old. Right? Verse 8, it says, when the Most High divided the nations their inheritance, the Lord segregated the nations, and each heathen nation had their own inhabitants of land that they lived on. Right? That's what the Lord did. The Lord divided the nations because the sons of Adam were wicked, and he gave them their own inheritance of land. It says when he separated the sons of Adam, right? Because the sons of Adam were wicked, right? The sons of Adam were wicked. So the Lord segregated the nations, right? It says, and he set the bonds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. And that's who the Lord is dealing with, right? Starting with Father Abraham. Because Father Abraham, he was a Hebrew. He was an Israelite. It says, verse 9, it says, for the Lord's portion is his people, right? See, Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. See, Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. That's why the Lord gave the Israelites a codified law, because he segregated the nations. He didn't want the Israelites to be like the heathens. That's why he gave us a codified law to keep. That's why we had the law, statutes, and commandments, because we're special people. We're special people. The Lord wanted us to be separated from the heathen nations. He didn't want us being like them. That's why he gave us a codified law to keep. That's why we had the laws, because we were a special people unto the Lord. And then I had another proof. Go to Romans 9. The Wadi Habashimashai, because for a minute I had a blank spot. So when you go to Romans 9, because people, it's funny because people, they'll read Romans 9 thinking that they're going to cut somebody. Because you got these wacky tacky Christians, well, read Romans 9. Apostle Paul was a Roman. Apostle Paul, he was not a Roman. He was a Roman citizen, but he wasn't a Roman. All right, he was a Roman citizen, but he was actually, if you want to go to nationality-wise, he was an Israelite. Apostle Paul was an Israelite. He was not a Roman. He was a Roman citizen, just like us. We don't have Israelites on our driver's license. We don't have Israelites on our driver's license. We have what? We have what Esau titled us as, and right, and we're called American citizens. It's the same thing in that time. You had Israelites that were Roman citizens because they lived in Rome. We live in the U.S., so we're called what? American citizens, but that's not our nationality. Our nationality is Israelites. This is Romans 11:1 to get that out, because Apostle Paul was an Israelite. He was raised in the house of the Pharisees. All right? Yeah, Apostle Paul was an Israelite. He was raised in the house of the Pharisees. This is Romans 11:1. It says, I say then, have Yahweh cast away his people? God forbid. So God forbid means no. Because you got people that say Israelites don't exist no more. Israelites don't exist no more. There ain't no more Israelites. Well, you're wrong. It says Romans 11:1. I say then, have the Most High cast away his people? God forbid. God forbid means no. It says, for I also am an Israelite. This is Apostle Paul. He said, I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham of the tribe of Benjamin. So Apostle Paul, he was a Benjamite. He was of the tribe of Benjamin. And who are the Benjamites today? Who are the tribe of Benjamin today? The one on the earth. It would be a Jamaican. And yes, that's what Apostle Paul was. He was a so-called Jamaican. If he's the one on the earth today, he'll be titled as a Jamaican. He's of the tribe of Benjamin. The tribe of Benjamin is the so-called Jamaicans. All right. So let's go back to Romans 9. Romans 9:1. This is what Apostle Paul said. He was an Israelite. We read Romans 11:1. So now when we go to the letters, we understand who he written them to. He written them to foreigner Israelites. Israelites that lived in the city of Corinth, that lived in the city of Galatia. All right. The Thessalonians, when you read those letters, those are written to those foreigner Israelites. All right. It wasn't written to natural Gentiles. Those were Israelites. This is Romans 9:1. It says, I say the truth in Yahushai, I lie not. My conscience also bearing me witness in the Holy Spirit. Verse 2, that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart. And why did Apostle Paul have sorrow for his heart? Because he felt bad for his people. He felt bad for his people. Verse 3, for I could wish that myself were accursed from Yahushai, for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh. right? Who is his people according to the flesh? If we know in Romans 11:1, he said he's of the tribe of Benjamin. Who is that talking about? Israel, Israelites. So that's who he writ the letters to, the foreigner Israelites. It says, verse 4, who are Israelites? To who pertaineth the adoption, right? The Israelites did, right? Because Yahushua, he was that sacrificial lamb for us to be able to get grafted back to the Father, to get adopted back to the Father, because we broke the old covenant. It says, and the glory of his covenants, see, and the giving of the law, which was Israelites, and the service of Yahweh, and the promises. The promises is only given to the Israelites. So that's who the Lord is dealing with. He's only dealing with the Israelites. He's not dealing with all people. That's not in the scriptures. He's only dealing with the Israelites. So all through the Bible, man, all through the scriptures, it's talking about Israelites. That's who has salvation. The Israelites. All right, we have salvation. All right, salvation is only given to the Israelites, not all people. John 3:16 is pertaining to the Israelites, and in Galatians 3:28, that's pertaining to the Israelites. Because all you got to do is go to Acts 6:1 and go into the meaning of that word Grecian, and it says Hellenist. You had Israelites with a Hellenistic mindset. They were Israelites, but they had a Gentile state of mind. All right, so hey, Lord want us lessons edifying. I want to give all honors and glories and praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Yahweh Chachodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, because those are the men who I've learned this truth from through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Shai. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect, and shalom to you, sincere brothers scattered abroad, pushing forth this word in truth and sincerity. I am the brother Mashiach Arazakah from the servants of Yahweh Yahweh Shai Camp, Las Vegas, Nevada branch. And Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Till the next time I say, shalom.